Teamwork has never been so two-faced. Weakest link in half an hour. First on BBC Two, some classic Mastermind.
In the spotlight tonight is Cliff Hughes from Yatton Kennel, a new business director, and his specialist subject is the British top 20 singles of the 70s. Catherine Slater from London, a housewife, and her subject, the #1 ladies detective agency novels. Nigel Taylor from Plymouth, a vet, and his specialist subject, Hornby Railways. And David Hill from Carlisle, a lab technician, and his subject, Joe Jackson and the Black Sox Scandal of 1990. Hello, I'm John Humphreys and welcome to Mastermind, the quiz show that demands only the very best from the 4 contenders. The rules remain the same: 2 minutes of questions on specialist subjects, then 2 minutes on general knowledge. As ever, 1 contender goes through to the next round with a chance of winning this glass bowl. More importantly, the right to call themselves Mastermind. So, let's have our first contender, please. And your name is?
Cliff Hughes.
Your occupation?
New business director.
And your chosen subject?
Is the British top 20 singles from the 1970s.
2 minutes starting now. In the 1970s, which partnership wrote hits including The Sweets' Teenage Rampage, Suzi Quattro's If You Can't Give Me Love, and Mud's Tiger Feet?
Chin and Chapman.
Yes. Which Beatles song reached #1 in the American singles charts in 1965 but wasn't a top 10 hit in the UK until 76?
Pass.
After 2 #1s earlier in the decade, which group had their last top 20 hit with Long-Legged Woman Dressed in Black in 1974?
Hollies.
Mungo Jerry. Who sang uncredited lead vocals on Python Lee Jackson's In a Broken Dream, which was a top 5 hit in 72?
Rod Stewart.
Correct. What was Elton John's first solo hit on his own Rocket label?
Rocket Man.
Sorry seems to be the hardest word. Which band's EP reached #17 in 77 and included the tracks Tenement Funster and Good Old Fashioned Loverboy?
Queen.
Yes, in 75. Which song became the Four Seasons' first top 20 single for 9 years?
December 63, What a Night.
No, The Night. Which band had 15 top 20 hits during the 70s, all of which featured the vocalists Dave Bartram and Buddy Gask?
ABBA.
Shawaddy Waddy. Between December 75 and February 78, ABBA had a run of 7 consecutive top 3 hits. Which of these was the only one not to reach #1?
Take a chance on
Money,
me.
Money, Money. Paul Layton was a member of a band that had 8 top 20 hits from 1971 till 74. Which band?
Slade.
New Seekers. Chris Hill's only top 10 hits were in December 75 and December 76. What name was in the title of both songs?
Santa.
Yes. The members of Hot Legs, who had a hit in 1970 with Neanderthal Man, later had numerous hits as part of which 4-piece band?
10cc.
Correct. After having 12 consecutive top 10 singles, Slade released, I've started so I'll finish, which song that only reached #15 in spring 75?
Pass.
Well, I can tell you because your time is up. How Does It Feel? And that Beatles song was Yesterday. 2 passes. Cliff Hughes, 5 points. And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Catherine Slater.
Your occupation?
Housewife.
And your chosen subject?
Is the #1 ladies detective agency novels by Alexander McCall Smith.
The #1 ladies detective agency novels in 2 minutes starting now. What was Precious Ramotswe's legacy from her father, which she sold so she could start a ladies detective agency?
Cattle.
Yes. What phrase, politely referring to her weight and build, is used throughout the books to describe Madame Ramotswe?
Traditional.
Traditionally built, yes. Where do Madame Ramotswe and Mr. J.L.B. Maticone finally marry in a ceremony performed by the Reverend Trevor Mwamba under a jacaranda tree?
At the orphan farm.
Yes, in the Kalahari Typing School for Men, Mr. Molifelo confesses that he stole what from his landlady to pay for his girlfriend's abortion?
A radio.
Yes, when Mr. Maticone returns to his old house with Madame Makutsi to find out why the mechanic Charlie is going there, what do they discover the house has become?
A shebeen.
Yes, or illegal bar. In Blue Shoes and Happiness, Poppy the cook says that she cannot resist which type of worms, which are a popular delicacy in Botswana.
Mopani.
Yes, what's the name of Mr. Maticone's sour and complaining maid who plans to plant a gun in Madame Ramotswe's house, but is arrested while it's still in her bag?
Florence Pico.
Yes, Herbert Malefi, who threatens Mr. Maticone in The Full Cupboard of Life, is the boss of which rival garage?
First Class Motors.
Correct. In the #1 Ladies Detective Agency, what name does Nandira Patel give to her apparently imaginary boyfriend?
Jack.
It is. How does Madame Ramotswe first meet Mr. Polopetsky, who later comes to work in the garage?
She knocks him over on his bicycle.
Correct. In Morality for Beautiful Girls, what's the title of Mr. Polani's beauty contest, which is given the theme of beauty and integrity?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
In Morality for Beautiful Girls, what's the title of Mr. Polani's beauty contest, which is given the theme of beauty and integrity?
Glamorous Miss Botswana.
Miss Glamorous Botswana, yes. What's the motto of Botswana Secretarial College, which it displays on its notice board?
Be accurate.
Yes. Which bird that's traditionally thought to bring death does Mr. Polopetsy inadvertently kill by removing it from the Mokolodi Animal Sanctuary in a cardboard box?
Great hornbill.
No, the ground hornbill. To whom does Madame Makutsi become engaged after she's improved his confidence in both dancing and speaking?
Futi Ramafuti.
Correct. In Tears of the Giraffe, Madame Ramotswe is asked, I'll finish the question, to investigate which American boy's disappearance in the bush more than 10 years earlier.
Michael Curtin.
Michael Curtin is correct. You had no passes. Catherine Slater, you have 14 points. And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Nigel Taylor.
Your occupation?
Veterinary surgeon.
And your chosen subject?
My chosen subject is the history of Hornby Railways.
History of Hornby Railways in 2 minutes, starting now. On which road in the Old Swan district of Liverpool was the Meccano factory where Hornby trains were made from 1920?
Duke Street.
Binns Road. What name was given to the cheaper version of the original Hornby clockwork train set, which sold for 5 shillings less?
The #1.
Tin-printed train set. Which former Newsnight presenter is a keen model railway enthusiast and describes Albert Hall as one of his favourite engines?
Peter Snow.
Correct. The design of which major component of Hornby's early clockwork train sets was based on that of the German company Bing?
The clockwork motor.
Rails or track. Which company made the original transformers for Hornby's low-voltage trains before Hornby started making its own?
Pass.
The publicity for the model of which LMS Pacific included a picture of the driver Tom Clark, who'd been in charge of the train's record-breaking run in 1936?
Princess, sorry.
Yes. Who was Meccano's commercial director who coined the name 00 for Hornby's new gauge system introduced in 1938?
Pass.
On which preserved railway is Kingscote signal box, where the model of Blackmore Vale was unveiled in 2001?
Bluebell Line.
Yes. Which industrial group bought Hornby's owners Rovex Triang Limited in 1972?
Dundee Convex Marks.
Yes. Their first two-rail electric locomotive, introduced in 1959, was a tank based on the R1s that were famed for their work at which harbour on the Kent coast?
Folkestone.
Yes. On which locomotive class did Hornby base their model of 5972, the Hogwarts Express engine, although the one used in the film was a Hall?
The Hornby models of Castle.
Yes. Which music producer launched Hornby's first live steam set at the Goodwood Revival in September 2003?
Pete Waterman.
Correct. What name was given to the system introduced by Rovex in '61 to improve the grip of the locomotive's wheels?
Magnadhesion.
Correct. In the mid-80s, Hornby used the tools of their E2 locomotive to make which children's favourite?
Thomas the Tank Engine.
Correct. And you're out of time. You had 2 passes. George Jones was the commercial director and Ferranti was the company that made the original Transformers. 2 passes. Nigel Taylor, 9 points.
Thank you.
And our next contender, please. And your name is?
David Hill,
Your occupation?
lab technician.
And your chosen subject?
The life of Joe Jackson and the Black Sox scandal of 1919.
The Black Sox scandal in 2 minutes, starting now. Joe Jackson was born in which county of South Carolina in July 1888?
Pickens County.
Correct. The young Jackson worked in which South Carolina mill as well as playing for their baseball team?
Brandon Mill.
Correct. The Chicago team earned the nickname Black Sox the year before the World Series scandal after their owner Charles Comiskey ordered which costs to be cut?
Laundry costs.
Yes. Which shipbuilding company did Jackson work for in order to avoid the draft during the First World War?
Harlan and Hollingsworth.
Correct. What name was given to the group of wealthy and influential supporters whom Charles Comiskey entertained at his own expense while cutting the players' meal allowance?
The Woodland Bards.
Yes. To which Boston gambling associate did the White Sox first baseman Chuck Gandil first propose that the series could be fixed for $80,000?
Sport Sullivan.
Correct. What was the name of the Greenville News sports writer who's credited with giving Jackson the nickname Shoeless after he played one game in his stocking feet because of blisters?
Scoop Latimer.
Correct. At the time of the 1919 World Series, what was the name of the home ballpark of the White Sox opponents, the Cincinnati Reds?
Redland Field.
Yes. Which former world featherweight boxing champion helped organise the fix after pretending that he was acting on behalf of Arnold Rothstein?
Abe Attell.
Yes. What was the name of the local girl whom Jackson married in July 1908?
Katie Wynn.
Correct. What did the White Sox pitcher Eddie Chicot do in Game 1 of the World Series to indicate that the fix was on?
He hit the batter.
He did. How many base hits did Jackson have during the 1919 World Series, as well as scoring the only home run of the series?
12.
Yes. What name did Jackson give to the bat stained with tobacco juice, which was given to him by Charlie Ferguson?
Black Betsy.
Correct. Who pitched to lose Game 5 of the series deliberately and played so poorly that he was withdrawn in the first innings of Game 8?
Lefty Williams.
Correct. How much was the initial reward that Comiskey offered just after the series ended for solid information about the fix, although this was later halved?
$20,000.
Correct. In 1908, Jackson had joined which minor league team in the Carolina Association for $75 a month?
Greenville Spinners.
Greenville Spinners is correct. You had no passes. You got them all right. 16 points. So that's the end of the first round, the specialist subjects. Let's have a look at the scores. In fourth place with 5 points, Cliff Hughes. Third place with 9 points, Nigel Taylor. Second place, 14 points, Catherine Slater. In the lead with 16 points, David Hill. And the general knowledge round now, and if there's a tie at the end of this round, then the number of passes get taken into account. So by and large, it's better to take an educated guess than to pass. Let's get on with the general knowledge round and ask Cliff Hughes to join us again, if he would, please. And you took the top 20 singles of the 70s. Some people tend to be a bit sniffy about the 70s, don't they? They say it really wasn't much in the way of music. But actually, that's not right, is it?
Oh, I think it was a great fun time. There was all sorts of different music, and it was a time when I remember with great pleasure. You know, it was fun.
Couldn't be because you're of a certain age, could it?
Well,
I mean, not that I'm suggesting anything here, but...
I think you possibly have a somewhat shrewd point there. Yes.
Well, I speak from personal experience. But looking at the sorts of music, we had what? Rock, glam rock, disco, pop, progressive, punk, new wave, reggae, you name it, and it was around, wasn't it?
It was a complete mixture, and from one end of the decade to the other it changed considerably, and I know the actual times themselves weren't tremendous fun, but I think that's often the case, isn't it, that the music maybe compensates for harder times in some respects.
Right, let's see how you do with your general knowledge. 2 minutes, starting now. What was the name of the youngest daughter of the last Tsar of Russia whom Anna Anderson claimed to be?
Anastasia.
Yes. Which Indonesian island, popular as a holiday destination, lies between Java and Lombok?
Bali.
Yes. Who moved to his hometown football club in July '96 when he joined Newcastle United from Blackburn Rovers for a then record fee of £15 million?
Alan Shearer.
Yes. Which bird found in Britain in the summer months is a close relative of the American roadrunner?
Pass.
The song I Feel Pretty comes from which musical that debuted on Broadway in 1957?
Carousel.
West Side Story. The name of which metallic element comes from the German for demon because miners thought its dust was harmful?
Pass.
In 93, the Labour Party introduced the policy known as OMOV for leadership elections. What do those initials stand for?
One man, one voice.
One member, one vote. Which British seaside resorts pier became the longest pleasure pier in the world when the Prince George extension was opened in 1929?
Brighton.
Southend-on-Sea. Which 1998 film starring Jim Carrey had the tagline, "On the air, unaware"?
Broadcast man.
The Truman Show. Which Roman poet's Georgics, completed in about 30 BC, is a poem about a farmer's life in rural Italy?
Virgil.
Yes. What name is given to the soft fleshy tissue found in the cavity of a human tooth?
Gum.
Pulp. The heir to which dukedom has the title Marquess of Douro?
Westminster.
Close Wellington. Which drink is said to have been invented in the 1940s by Joe Sheridan, the chef at the Foynes Flying Boat Station, to warm transatlantic travellers?
Pass.
Whose prelude for piano in D-flat, opus 28, number 15, is nicknamed The Raindrop?
Debussy.
Chopin. Which term for a firmly stuffed drum-shaped cushion used as a seat comes from a French imitative word for something inflated?
Barrage.
Pouffet. Three passes. Gaelic coffee or Irish coffee was the drink. Cobalt was the metallic element. And the cuckoo is related to the American Roadrunner. 3 passes. Cliff Hughes, 9 points. And now Nigel Taylor, please. And I suppose we could talk about Hornby Railways, because obviously they were, well, I don't know about your favourite, but they're my favourite as a little boy.
Yeah, well, I grew up with them, John. I come from a railway family, so I've grown up with trains and steam engines in particular. So.
Hence the interest. But you didn't go into railways yourself. You're a vet.
I am. I've been a vet since 1977, which is a long time, 30 years.
Well, yes. And the reason I ask you, because an awful lot has changed in that time, hasn't it? And one of the things that strikes me about how it's changed is that we treat animals now much more as, frankly, as though they were human beings. I mean, we now have slimming pills for dogs, don't we? Which seems to me to be fairly obscene, actually.
Well, I tend to be with you. I mean, I grew up really in the James Herriot era, and when I first became a vet, I was very much like James Herriot, you know, going on the farms and occasionally seeing dogs and cats. But as you say, we treat animals very much like children, really. In fact, we often think of dogs and cats as children with fur. But going back to slimming for dogs, I'm like you, I feel a bit uncomfortable about it. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, as far as animals dieting is concerned, it's the same as you and me. If you reduce the amount you eat and exercise more, you tend to lose weight.
Right, you have 9 points so far. With your knowledge of Hornby Railways, let's see how you do with general knowledge. 2 minutes, starting now. E.M. and G.F. Grace both played cricket for England, but what were the initials of their more famous brother?
WG.
Yes. Which independent state was invaded by Iraq in August 1990?
Q8.
Yes. Which female scientist coined the word radioactive for atoms which spontaneously disintegrate, giving off high-speed particles?
Marie Curie.
Correct. Which British patron saint has his feast day earliest in the calendar year?
St. George.
St. David. Who headed the first national government of Britain, which held power from 1931 till 35?
Baldwin.
Ramsay MacDonald. Which Austrian composer wrote 9 numbered symphonies and one known as Nilter between 1864 and 1896, most of which he revised more than once?
Mahler.
Bruckner. Which national trail starts near Avebury in Wiltshire and runs northeast for about 85 miles, finishing at Ivinghoe Beacon near Tring?
The White Horse Way.
The Ridgeway. Which of Henry VIII's wives had been a lady-in-waiting to 2 of his other queens?
Catherine Parr.
Jane Seymour. So called because of its distinctive eye markings, what is the descriptive name of the only South American species of bear, also known as the Andean bear?
The Spectacle Bear.
Yes. Which entertainer wrote and starred in the television comedy series Dinner Ladies?
Victoria Wood.
Yes. Halifax is the capital of which Canadian province?
Nova Scotia.
Correct. In 1671, which Irish-born adventurer broke into the Tower of London with 3 accomplices and tried to steal the crown jewels?
Captain Blood.
Colonel Blood, yes. What was Paul Gauguin's profession before he became a full-time painter?
Teacher.
Stockbroker. In which novel by D.H. Lawrence is Oliver Mellors the title character?
Lady Charlie's Lover.
Yes, which American singer's rise to fame began when he spent 6 months with Hattie James Orchestra in 1939 before moving on to Tommy Dorsey's orchestra?
Frank Sinatra.
Correct. Canterbury is England's oldest cathedral. Where in Kent is Britain's second oldest, founded in 604 AD?
Hastings.
Rochester. Which French aircraft designer set up the companies that produced the Mystère and the Mirage fighter planes?
Dassault.
Correct. Which term from the Italian to play the harp, I'll finish the question, is used for a chord in which the notes are played in rapid succession rather than simultaneously?
Arpeggio.
Arpeggio is correct. No passes. Nigel Taylor, you now have a total of 20 points. And now Catherine Slater, please. And you are obviously a fan, given your score, of the #1 ladies detective agency.
Yes, yes.
Why? What is it about those? Everybody seems to like them when they read them. What is it?
Well, they have a wonderful, gentle sense of humour. They're very interesting stories because he interweaves incidents and cases so that you're always wondering what's going to happen next and what's the solution going to be to the problem. So it keeps you going.
Yes, they have a very strong kind of ethical sense, don't they? She certainly does.
Yes, I think she believes in the old Botswana ways, that Botswana is exceptional in Africa as being always a democratic country, a country where everybody looks out for everybody else, decency, gentleness, caring about other people, doing things not for reward but because you feel it's right that you should do it for somebody else.
Some people say that Alexander McCall Smith didn't give an accurate representation, didn't paint an accurate picture of Africa. But that's not what he was trying to do, really, was it?
Well, I think he was trying to paint an accurate picture of Botswana, and I would think there's so much in there that it must be genuine. I don't think you could actually weave 7 novels all on a myth. I think that Botswana must be really like that. They do mention in passing poverty and AIDS and so forth, but it's not the whole thing. It's very much just a part. And most of it is decent people looking after each other.
Right, well, you have 14 points at the moment. 20 is the score to beat so far. Let's see if you can do it with your general knowledge. 2 minutes, starting now. What French name is used for a small choux pastry bun that's often filled with cream and served with a hot chocolate sauce?
Eclair.
Profiterole. Susan Hill's 93 novel Mrs. de Winter was written as a sequel to which work by Daphne du Maurier?
Rebecca.
Correct. Which former England cricketer won Strictly Come Dancing in December 2006, partnered by Karen Hardy?
Pass.
Which camel found in Central Asia has 2 humps?
Bactrian.
Yes, in Puccini's opera La Bohème, the seamstress Lucia is better known by what alternative name?
Mimi.
Yes, which evergreen early flowering shrub originating in the Far East is economically important because tea is produced from one species?
Pass.
Founded in 1869 as the College for Women, which Cambridge College moved in 1872 to the village whose name it now bears?
Girton.
Yes, which mountain is the highest in Australia, rising to a height of 2,228 metres?
Mount McKinley.
No, Mount Kosciuszko. Who married the first of her 7 husbands, the hotelier Nicky Hilton, in May 1950? The marriage lasted less than 9 months.
Jean-Jacques Bois.
Elizabeth Taylor. Sasha is the Russian diminutive or familiar form of which male Christian name?
Pass.
The film Dreamgirls was inspired by the career of which Motown group?
Pass.
In Christendom, which title, dating back to the 5th century AD, was originally given to the bishops of the 5 major episcopal sees, namely Rome, Alexandria, Antioch, Constantinople and Jerusalem?
Patriarchs.
Yes, discovered in 1982, asteroid 2602 is named after which astronomer and television presenter?
Fred Hoyle.
Patrick Moore. Which prominent Labour politician was the MP for Ebbw Vale from 1929 to his death in 1960?
Bevan.
Yes. What were the Commonwealth Games called when they were first held in 1930?
The Empire Games.
Yes. In Greek mythology, which monster was locked up in the labyrinth built by Daedalus on the island of Crete?
Minotaur.
Yes. What name is given to the enormous hooped skirts that were the height of fashion in the 1850s and 60s?
Crinolines.
Correct. Which spirit is an essential ingredient of the cocktail known as Planter's Punch?
Rum.
Yes. Which feature of the Palace of Versailles was designed by André Lenotre in the late 17th century?
The Gardens.
The Gardens is correct. You had 4 passes. The Supremes inspired Dreamgirls. Alexandra is the full form of Sasha. It's the camellia, or if you prefer, camellia plant, and Mark Ramprakash, who won Strictly Come Dancing. 4 passes. Catherine Slater, 25 points. And finally, David Hill, please. Now, I suppose there'll be people who've never heard of Joe Jackson and the Black Sox scandal of 1919. In brief, just tell us what happened.
There were 8 members of the Chicago White Sox team accused of taking money from gamblers and deliberately losing the 1919 World Series.
And the important part of it was that one of the important bits was Joe Jackson was an incredibly good baseball player and very famous and much loved.
That's right. He was the best in the game at the time. Although he maintained he was innocent to the end of his life.
What do we believe now? I mean, did they throw the game? Did they fix it?
I think 5 of the players were deliberately playing to lose. I think Joe Jackson maintains that he played to win all through the series, and I think his statistics back him up. I think he was just misguided, naive, and confused.
Anyway, it was an amazing episode, and you scored a lot of points with it, 16 points. The score you have to beat is 25.
Right.
Let's see if you can do that with your general knowledge. 2 minutes, starting now. What is Archimedes said to have shouted while running naked in the street after discovering the principle of buoyancy in his bath?
Eureka.
Yes, which country was partitioned between the Germans and the Soviet Union on the 28th of September 1939?
Austria.
Poland, which is the world's commonest fern found in every continent except Antarctica and growing abundantly on British hillsides?
Bracken.
Yes, what word disappeared from the names of certain British coins minted after 1982?
Silver.
New, which transvestite who steals women's clothes from washing lines is the title character of Pink Floyd's first single released in 1967?
Arnold Lane.
Correct. Which strait separates the continents of Asia and North America at their closest point?
Bering Strait.
Yes, according to Polynesian legend, which rare pearl did Ono, the god of peace and fertility, give to man as a symbol of everlasting love?
Black pearl.
Correct. The berries of the shrub Vaccinium macrocarpon are made into a sauce traditionally served at Christmas. As what are they better known?
Cranberries.
Correct. In Oliver Stone's 2004 film Alexander, which Irish actor plays Alexander the Great as an adult?
Colin Farrell.
Yes, in the human skull, the air-filled cavities connected to the nose have what name derived from the Latin for a bend or fold?
Pass.
Which alcoholic beverage is known in Spain as cerveza?
Pass.
Which famous American motor race, first contested in 1911, is run on a track known as the Brickyard because it was originally made of bricks?
Indianapolis 500.
Correct. Which science fiction writer's first published book was the 1951 novel Prelude to Space?
Isaac Asimov.
Arthur C. Clarke. Who in 1799 was appointed court painter of the Spanish King Carlos IV?
Goya.
Yes. Which battle that took place on the 16th of April 1746? I've started, so I'll finish. Marked the last serious attempt by the Jacobites to restore the Stuart dynasty to power?
Culloden.
Culloden it was. 2 passes. Cerveza is beer. You're obviously not a beer drinker in Spain. And it's the sinuses, those air-filled cavities in the skull. 2 passes, David Hill, 26 points. So, at the end of that nail-biter, let's have a look at the scores. In 4th place with 9 points, Cliff Hughes. 3rd place with 20 points, Nigel Taylor. 2nd place with 25 points, Catherine Slater. In 1st place, he just did it, 26 points, David Hill. Which means, of course, that David Hill goes through to the semi-final. Congratulations to him. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Anne Robinson's on top form for The Weakest Link next on BBC Two this afternoon. Then there's more world-class cooking on the Great British Menu in 45 minutes. And later, our New Look afternoons begin with classic Floyd on food. He's raving about pilchards at 2:45.
Why do birds suddenly appear?
Don't love you.
Every time
Graham, is that you?
you are near,
Well, speak to me.
just like me, they long want to be.
You're a damn good ventriloquist, Bob. That's easy for you to say.
Brand new sketch comedy from the Ginge, the Geordie and the Geek continues Sunday at 7:30 on BBC Two and BBC Two HD.